Hello and welcome to Froch on Fighting. You know who I am, Carl the Cobra Froch, 4-time world champ, Hall of Famer. I've been banging on about it for long enough now. I'm not going to stop actually. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, Brian. You'll know him as True Geordie. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm quite new to this game, but he's got one hell of a following, and rightly so, because he's done some great stuff. I've been watching him lately. But anyway, Brian, how are you, mate?
All good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. I'm not bad. I was just about to say that, I've been looking at a few of your bits lately. Actually, you've done a good breakdown, which you probably want to talk about. I don't want to jump around too much, but Anthony Joshua's fighting Ngannou soon. So before we go on to that, just want to ask you, how are you doing? Everything good? Fitting well?
I can't complain, mate. I've been getting back into the gym lately, starting to look after myself again. You know, you enjoy the booze a bit too much sometimes, so I'm going to be looking like you before I know it, mate. Sharp as a dice.
I was about to ask you some advice there, because you look like a unit, and I'm on the unit growth. Don't get me wrong, I'm not on the growth, but I'm trying to grow. People are going to get the wrong idea. But do you do quite a lot of compound exercises to keep your size? Do you do like squats, deadlifting, and do you do pull-ups?
I do just bodybuilding, powerlifting stuff, really, mate. I'm no Eddie Hall. Even though I look like his sort of little brother, according to some people, I'm a strong bloke. I'm about 21 stone, 20 and a half stone.
Oh, you're much as that. You know what? When I met you, last time I met you was playing poker, wasn't we?
Aye.
I somehow tried to nick the win. I don't know what happened.
You did?
I was trying to lose so I could get home early. And that's what happens. You end up going in with 7 deuce off suit, and you end up hitting a full house or something. But,
you smashed it. I was well impressed.
Yeah, well, once I hit a couple of lucky hands, I thought I might as well stay in it for the long haul. I still not got my Apple Watch. I was supposed to win an Apple Watch.
I'll have a word. To be fair, I was supposed to get a lot more than that out of the day. So yeah, fair play. You've been robbed there, but we'll get it back.
Yeah, I had a ticket as well. A ticket for a main event that I couldn't play, so I didn't. But anyway, the win's the win, and it's always.
You're a good fucking player, mate. I'm impressed.
I've been playing a few years, to be fair. But,
yeah.
But anyway, let's go on to the boxing, because that's why I've got you on here. Thanks for joining. And yeah, what's coming up, which is pretty big, is the AJ and Ngannou fight. And that's what I watched actually on your channel, True Geordie, last week. Or was it the Pain Game? It might have been on the Pain Game.
Pain Game.
But if you can just tell it for my dedicated followers and fans, what your opinion is on Anthony Joshua and Ngannou. Do you think it's an easy fight, or do you think Ngannou's got a chance, first of all?
You know what, mate? It's one that I'm actually really been struggling about, because I've been a fan of Francis Ngannou for a long time now, and I've met him. And when I met him, and I've met all these big heavyweights, I've met lots of boxers by this point. I've never felt intimidated. Obviously, logically, I'm aware they could do what they wanted, you know, in a real fighting situation, you know. You can be as strong as you want, but years of dedication, it is what it is. But with Francis, I was very aware. Oh my God, this man is scary. Like he's the only man I've ever felt like that around in my whole life, to be honest. He's got this air about him, like he could kill you with one arm.
That's a lot.
You know what I mean?
That's a lot to be said coming from you, because when I met you, I thought he looks a bit scary. That's what I thought.
Mate,
the size of you.
Mate, there was one question I asked him, and I remember I asked him about his time growing up in Africa, and I said it in quite an innocent way, you know, but I realised that, you know, a lot of people will want the sub story out of him now, and he's probably told it, you know, however many times, and he's like, yeah, and I thought, oh, have I said the wrong thing? And you know, if he wants to fuck you up, it's his choice, right? So, like, you just have that little wobble, and I thought, oh God. But luckily, he's a very lovely man, and you know, he is a very respectful bloke. But ultimately, he knows he is the baddest man on the planet. He's the lineal mixed martial arts champion of the world, and as much as, you know, I was lucky that day that he was in a good mood. We're all lucky that Francis is confined to combat sports, you know, and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are lucky that there are ropes and boxing gloves involved, and it ain't just in a steel cage, because he would just rip limb from limb off of them, in my opinion. So, you know, I think the one thing that makes this interesting on a psychological level is that Anthony Joshua can look at this man and deep down in his heart know, you know, in a real fight, he'd fuck me up. And AJ, you know, maybe, I know fighters always have that confidence, but logically, that's the truth of the matter. And then he's went in and did what he did with Fury, and Fury couldn't really put a dent in him. He couldn't really get his respect. He couldn't hurt him as much as he tried, and I think that's obviously where the knockdown came from, is he was hitting him with that 1-2, and he's in amazement, Fury, of like, why won't you back up a little bit here? And he throws it again, and he gets caught with the left hook. And you know, ironically, a similar shot to what Andy Ruiz caught Anthony Joshua with. And like Andy Ruiz, he's not frightened to trade with you when you're throwing shots. And a lot of heavyweights don't do that, especially with Anthony Joshua, because he does command so much respect. Yeah. And if we're looking at the criticisms that me and you have had of Anthony Joshua, it's mentally strong. Is he mentally strong? And he's going to be in there with one of the most mentally strong humans on the planet, in my opinion, when you look at the story of Ngannou, and also the fact that he is willing to just go in there in his boxing career and fight two of the three best fighters off the bat. And in terms of punching, we've looked at AJ's chin before and had questions about it. Yeah. Well, Ngannou's one of the hardest punchers alive. So I think we're going to get some questions answered at the very least. And I fancy Ngannou to shock the world, potentially. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Like, I think logically it shouldn't happen. But there's just something about this guy that other fighters don't have.
Yeah, I've seen that punching power on that bloody machine. I know it's only a punch machine, but when I wallop that, I get close to like 800, depending on which make it is. But I've never seen anybody, even Anthony Joshua, when he smacks that punch machine, he gets like 850, getting on close to 9. And Ngannou hit it with a right hand, and it just went to 999 and just sort of stopped. And I just thought, I wonder what that would have gone up to if it had gone past 1,000. Because it was just ridiculously strong, and like he clipped Garcia with that left hook. It didn't look like much of a shot, did it? But it landed nice and flush high on the similar good sort of comparison AJ Ruiz when he got caught high, and obviously AJ climbed off the floor, but he was down, and I just thought to myself, this is going to be the end of Tyson Fury now. It's going to be the end, but he couldn't seem to get anything going, couldn't seem to figure out what to do. Fury used his feet and used his fast hands and moved. So I just think if Anthony Joshua gets in there and thinks to himself, right, I'm going to use my jab, use my boxing ability, the boxing ability that got him that gold medal in the Olympics, 2 times heavyweight champ. I know he climbed off the floor to Klitschko, but he's had some good wins. Joseph Parker, Takam. There's been a few good wins on the way. And I know he's lost to Usyk twice, but he shared the ring with him twice and gone the distance. So he's had 24 rounds against someone who's an absolute machine. So I just think if AJ steps in the ring and decides to just box and move and stay behind his jab and just meet Ngannou as he comes, it could make really, really easy work of it. But then I suppose it's down to what Ngannou decides to do. Is Ngannou going to allow him to just box and move? Or will he back him up and trap him in the corner in the ropes and stick it on him? And if he does, I mean, you're nodding and smiling. So I could get very excited about this fight, because do you think Ngannou's going to go for it then?
Yeah, when Ngannou says in that face-off, yeah, I'm coming at you with everything I've got from the pit of my stomach. Ngannou just doesn't say things like that for no reason. And, at his age now, he's looking at this as, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And if anything, I think one of the biggest mistakes people are making about this fight, I don't have any problem in anyone saying that AJ is going to be the better boxer and take him apart technically. That's very possible. Yeah. But there's some people saying like, oh, we just got lucky, Fury had enough night. I don't understand logically how a boxer can go in there in his first ever professional fight and get worse after that. If only, like that 10 rounds with Fury can only help him. Fury can be quite tricky to hurt, quite tricky to land on. AJ is a lot more flat-footed and can get caught at times, whereas Fury can let them bounce off him a bit and use that big reach that he's got and the height that he's got. I think Ngannou will find it easier to land on AJ. I also think that AJ's power could prove a problem for Ngannou because he's got that wide guard. AJ's straight shots are his best shots. That would be a worry for me as an Ngannou fan, but I don't think AJ will do what he did to Ruiz in the rematch, which a lot of people are suggesting of get behind your jab, get on your bike and never get into a tussle. Andy Ruiz came into that fight 2 stone overweight with these tiny little legs. He couldn't close the distance. And Ngannou is a mountain of a man who can close the distance. And I just don't think AJ is going to get out of this ring unless he just lands that perfect shot in the first few rounds without being in a fight at some point. And that's what I'm excited for.
What's his, I get that. What's his chin like, Ngannou? Because everyone's saying in the boxing circle, don't really know what his chin's like. We've not seen much of him fighting. Can he take a shot?
Well, he took an elbow from Fury like it was nothing. And, in in MMA, obviously you're getting hit with elbows, knees, kicks to the head. I've seen him get kicked in the head and keep walking forward like it was nothing. I think he might have the best chin in heavyweight boxing.
Really?
And I could be completely wrong. I could be made to look a fool because AJ is a power puncher and the accuracy, it's different to MMA. Yeah. But we're talking 4 ounce gloves that he's been hit with by all these big punchers. And I've seen him tired. Yeah. I've never seen him hurt, ever. So I think he's rock solid, personally.
Yeah. So if he's got a good chin and he goes for it, this could be disastrous for Anthony Joshua, actually, because he's taking the fight obviously because it's mega money in Saudi Arabia, and obviously you're gonna take the money and you're gonna stay in Saudi. Whilst you're earning 50 million quid a fight, you're gonna stay out there. So
the thing about AJ that interests me, Carl, is technically you'll be way better at breaking it down than I am, but I feel like AJ is a very good basic boxer, but he does the fundamentals really well. But if we're honestly looking at his best performances, it's the ones where he uses his power. He relies on his power a lot of the time to get these guys out of there and to hurt them. And this might be the first time I've ever seen him in a ring where I genuinely can look at him and go, the other guy's the harder puncher.
Yeah.
And that really will explain a lot of just how good AJ is, in my opinion, because if you have relied on power for a long time and all of a sudden you're in there with a guy who could take a shot better than you and hits harder than you, you might be fucked.
Yeah, potentially. And he's not been the same since that Ruiz fight, which we talked about. He's been a little bit gun shy, hasn't he? And beating kind of Helenius and Franklin and the level he's been coming back at, I suppose, like...
Did any of them really try and stick it on him,
no,
though? Like the Wallen fight really was the one that convinced a lot of people of, all right, that was a great performance, but Wallen at no point looked confident.
It did nothing, at no point...
Franklin, Helenius, none of them took any risks. When you looked at the way Francis Ngannou walked Fury down, none of them did that. So that's why I'm like... As much as I understand that logically Franklin, Helenius and Wallen should all be better boxers than Ngannou, what's up here in Ngannou is far superior to what they had, in my opinion, in terms of guts.
Do you know what? Based on everything you're saying and the fact that you know more about me than mixed martial arts because you follow the sport, this could potentially be a really bad fight for AJ, and this could be like it'd be disastrous. Where does he go if Ngannou beats him? Does he look for the ring?
Well, if everything Eddie Hearn says is true, for example, right, which I know he's a promoter, but like the way Eddie Hearn's talked about is like, all right, yeah, Ngannou's a big lump, but technically AJ is superior in levels, and I agree, like he logically should be, like you say, 24 rounds with Usyk, how could you not be?
Yeah.
But I just wonder, has he recovered? Because if we're looking at the previous fights, Wallen was the exception to the rule where he really seemed to go and get him out of there.
Yeah.
The others, he did look tentative, and I don't know. If he is relying on strength and power, he'll get found out by Ngannou. He's going to have to be clever and box to his full ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've sold the shit out of this fight now for whichever broadcaster's shown it. So we've done enough, but it is actually really, really intriguing for me. I'm not confused. I'm going to go with Anthony Joshua beats him and just stays out of it. If I was advising Anthony Joshua, if I'm his trainer, I'm going to say, right, get behind your jab, throw the double jab. If he comes for you, throw the double jab right hand, hopefully walk him onto something, and then just get off in circles. Don't go in straight lines. And if he comes in close, and he gets close to you, which he's going to try, get hold of him or try. He's not going to be able to lean on him. But the problem with getting close and getting hold of Ngannou, he'll just ragdoll you and push you off and lean on because he's used to it. So this could be really, really exciting if Ngannou...
The reach of Ngannou fascinates me as well. I don't know if you've seen that. There was a couple of times where he caught Fury. And again, like I said, Fury's harder to hit, man, and he's less predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that's enough about AJ Ngannou. One I'm definitely looking forward to, and one that potentially could be curtains on AJ's career, because this is probably going to be the first time somebody's come in the ring and trying to stick it on him, if Ngannou does do that, which you're saying he will do. And... if he can't cope with the pressure, and he's got someone like that man mountain of Ngannou swinging at him and throwing big heavy shots, this could be like a destruction job. And it's gonna the reason.
The thing that surprised me of the Fury fight, just before we go on the next topic, is Ngannou's the type of bloke who just shuts the lights off like Wilder, right? He's not like a like a concussive, constant amount of barrage of punches. It's usually one shot and done with him. And I think that the nerves of the first boxing fight ever, 6'9" Fury in front of you, and not really having the belief of, I'm going to get him out of there immediately, because Fury has this reputation of he always comes back.
Yeah.
I think Ngannou pulled his punches. His biggest weapon in MMA was the right hand. He really was holding that back because he was scared of gassing.
Yeah.
Now he's going to have the confidence. So I'm excited to see how AJ handles him big time. But it's not often, because of AJ's power, when he's in the fight, that people really look like they believe they can hurt him and go through him. Like,
absolutely.
It's because AJ has that, I'll hurt you if you get too close.
Yeah.
Everyone always stays right on the edge of range, like Franklin did a good job of, to be fair. Yeah. But Ngannou's going to be like, fuck all this, mate. We're in a fight here. Yeah. And I definitely think getting on the inside could be a part of the tactics.
I like Ngannou. This is what I was going to say. I like Ngannou. I like Anthony Joshua. I've got a lot of respect for AJ because he's fought everybody. He took on all his challenges, defended all his belts. But what I can't sort of get my head around, and what I don't want to accept, is that somebody can come into professional boxing and have their second professional fight and beat the former unified two-time champ. But he's already kind of proved that against Fury. But I've got to the only way I can make logic of that is that Fury was so bad and so ill-prepared on the night, and he just didn't take it seriously, so he switched off. Like when I have a bad spar against someone that can't really lace my boots, and they give me a really hard spar, and I think, why is that amateur who lost in the ABA semi-finals just give me a beat down in sparring? Because I wasn't switched on, because I didn't take him seriously. But
is it not, though, that heavyweight boxing is almost a sport in its own right, though? Because like I feel like the athletes in heavyweight MMA and heavyweight boxing can transfer over easier, because it is less about skill at that weight. Like, it is about how beastly are you, what kind of shape are you in, and how much punishment can you take, and what can you dish out. Like, I feel like technically Mayweather exposed the gap between MMA and boxing. Yeah. But at heavyweight, I feel like it's different.
You know what? Every time I keep trying to think of a reason that AJ's not going to lose to this guy they're having his second professional boxing match, you keep casting...
I'm not saying he's going to lose. I think he might. And I just think that's part of the reason why.
Casting doubt. I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying, and not just for the sake of agreeing, because I'm not here to kiss your ass, and I'm sure when I come on your YouTube channel, you're not going to be kissing my ass, because we do what we do. We shoot from the hip and we speak the truth. But this, you're making me realise that actually Ngannou has probably got more of a chance than what I thought he would have. But I'm going to keep my prediction the same, and I'm going to have to pick AJ to beat him and keep out of his way. But if Ngannou closes him down, it's game over. But anyway, on from that, because we've closed that 3 times. What did you make? And I know you you do make something of it. Big John Fury, the fighting man, 100-0 on the hard road.
Hard road.
What do you reckon to him now? Because now he's saying, it's saying that he'll. I don't want to give him too much time, to be honest, but I kind of feel a little bit sorry for him. But now he's saying he's finished it off, and this is kind of drawing a line under it now. He'll fight anybody in his barn. Let's go in the barn. We'll have a fight, mano a mano, and the best man will leave.
What's waiting for you in the barn? That's what my worry is. Has he got a shotgun in there?
I reckon there could be some of them pigs that eat you alive.
Well, I was speaking to Joe Egan the other day, and Joe says Misfits have contacted Big John. Says you're up for the Joe Egan fight.
So it can happen.
Yeah. And Big John said, I'm not interested. That's what Joe Egan said, right? So I'm like, okay. But then he's offered you to go round to his barn where there's no paycheck in it.
Yeah, I'm like... When he said that it's got to make business sense. So he's totally contradicting himself. Don't make any sense.
You want to make money, but all of a sudden you don't want the Joe Egan fight. You're not interested even negotiating with it. They didn't even get to make an offer. No. So when he says there's not been an offer made, he's technically telling the truth, because he wouldn't let them.
Yeah, we'll let him.
This is according to Joe Egan, by the way. Don't shoot the messenger, John. Now, he's... don't offer me to the barn. And he's... So there is no offer. And then he's saying, well, come to the barn. And it's like, mate, you're not going to get a Mike Tyson fight. You're not going to get a Carl Froch fight. These are like boxing legends, which you don't belong in the ring with. You've got Joe Egan, who admittedly says, he said, I wasn't that great, but I'm willing to do this. I'm the right age, the right size, the right everything. We'll put the fight on. You're getting a legit offer where you can actually get in the ring, make some money, and now you're saying, oh, it has to be 93,000 at Wembley and Carl Froch, or it's nothing. Yeah. It just, it's weird, isn't it?
It is very weird. So are we going to just leave it and just say that Big John Fury is a shithouse? Is that what we're going to say?
You're allowed to say that because you're a world champion, mate. I'll let you say that.
Can you not have a tussle in the barn? Are you a fighting man? Can you have a
I'll
roll
send my
on or
dad
not?
in there. He's probably the only man more scary and crazy than John Fury, to be fair.
Have you ever done any fighting, any boxing or any mixed martial arts or anything like that?
Not professionally anything.
No,
I've
I mean,
trained
like, in the gym?
a guy who my trainer sparred you, Lawrence Oswecki, Team GB boxer. He won the ABAs.
Oh,
I don't
Lawrence.
know if you
I know
remember
Lawrence.
sparring
Yeah,
him.
yeah, and I did.
You sparred him before Groves too, I think.
Yeah. He was a light heavyweight. I think bigger than me, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he's coached me quite a lot. But like, for me, it's just fun. Do you know what I mean? And just in case anything ever kicks off.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep fair. We'll go with it. We'll go with the fact that you are doing a bit of boxing training. If anybody starts, you can handle yourself for at least 30
That's
seconds.
it, right?
So we'll go with that.
Just to keep me from going into the barn, basically.
You don't want to be in that bond, mate. You don't.
Yeah, sounds terrible. Like Saw or something.
I'll tell you what, as well, while we're on the subject of people calling people out, which I know we've drawn a line under John Fury now, Big John. I think he's going to go away now. Jake Paul mentioned me again a couple of days ago, and I always, whenever he mentions me, he always then ends it with, "Oh, Carl Froch, he must need the money because, of course, he wants to fight me. He must need the money. He needs the payday." So he obviously doesn't know that I'm quite frugal with my money. I've made decent investments, and I'm not begging for a payday or a fight with Jake Paul. Most definitely. But I wrote him off, and I rightly wrote him off, because he can't fucking fight. He's not a boxer. And he's trying to be a boxer, so fair play to him. He's in the gym, he's had a few goes, but he exposed himself when he was in against Tommy Fury. He showed the limitations, and he showed his level. And I don't think he'll ever be anywhere close to becoming even an area champion, like a British title level, let alone a world champion. But he mentioned me the other day. Do you think he would be stupid enough ever to take on the Cobra? And I use myself as a third person there, in case you didn't notice. That's me, the Cobra.
Yeah, I absolutely think he would take the fight.
Really?
I think there's... With him, obviously on the YouTube side of things, which I come from, and I've known Jake for, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that now. It's storyline. You know, there's got to be a selling point, and I think that's one of the hardest things when you get to a point where you're a YouTuber who you can knock all these other YouTubers out. You don't necessarily want to be getting in the ring with a Vidal Riley, who is, of a similar age and, is climbing the ranks, doing it, the old-fashioned way. So he's looking for angles of how he can make exciting fights. And I think with you having this time out of the ring, there's an angle of, Carl can't be the Carl of old. So has Carl regressed enough the way Jake Paul could beat him? There's the intrigue generated. And look, you should both talk so much shit, and it would be fucking fantastic, right? I can't lie. I'd love to see that happen just on an entertainment level. So I think he would take the fight. And look, right now he's beating up guys that people don't have any interest in the fights right now. He's taking on guys with all right records, but when you get in there, you see like, all right, the record is padded and he's just wiping the floor with them. And the KSI fight, for whatever reason, hasn't materialised. So I think he would take that fight.
I feel like he's running out of names, because he's had a couple of fights, and it's like, who will he fight next? What's the next big, like you say, you need a storyline, you need a narrative. And there kind of isn't one, is there? But I think with me...
He's in a very awkward position because he's talking about fighting for a world title. And look, I'm sure he's got the best guys around him money can buy, but... I mean, how do you navigate that when you've started so much later than everyone else in life? Like, I know Vidal, for example, started at 8 years old. Like, that's just so much time to catch up, and then you're going to need a hell of a lot of natural talent to make it up. So, yeah, I think he is just needing... And that's why MMA guys are perfect, right? Because they've got big names, but they don't have the ring IQ that he has, because he's devoted himself to it at this point. Yeah. But even them are like... I don't know how much interest there is in the MMA guys at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It's funny, like we talked about it earlier, Ngannou Fury, Ngannou AJ, and we touched on Fury, but the MMA guys always have to come into the boxing ring, don't they, and do the pro boxing, because it's kind of widely accepted that if a boxer gets into the cage, it's going to be game over pretty quick.
Well, there is one boxer who has said he'll get in the cage recently. We talked about him before the call, Ryan Garcia. Yeah. He has said he would fight... I think it's the 135-pound champion, Sean O'Malley, in an
Oh,
MMA
really?
fight if Dana White coughed up enough. To be honest, with Ryan Garcia, I kind of half believe it because he does seem to take all the hard fights.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice sort of segue into just me mentioning Ryan Garcia against Devin Haney, because he's taking Devin Haney on, and Devin Haney is like at the minute he's been spoke as one of the pound for pound greats. I know he's only young, still in his mid-20s, but that's a tough fight for Garcia, especially after what happened to him against Tank Davis. I mean, he wants the Tank Davis rematch as well, and a couple more in between, maybe Teofimo Lopez. And it's like, you've got to give Ryan Garcia his credit. And I know he's a bit of a teeny bopper fan following, and he's a social media guy. He's got millions of followers. He's a good-looking kid, and he's got a massive YouTube following and whatever social media presence. But he does get in there. I mean, he can fight as well. He's got ridiculously fast hands. He can punch hard. He beat my friend Luke Campbell, but Luke Campbell had him down on the floor, and then he did him to the body shot, didn't he, and got that win. So he's a good fighter, but I do rate him because he is taking him on, and he's jumping in there with Devin Haney, and he's making all the right noises. So fair play to him. What do you make of Garcia? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I like the kid. I think he made Tank when he took that fight. Tank was not a household name. He really needed a dance partner. And to be fair, even though a lot of people would have had Tank as the favourite, Tank still weight trained him, still made him stick to all of those bullshit rules. And Garcia agreed to all of them because he believed he would win the fight. So I do think he's a bit of a throwback, even if he is a pretty boy. I just wish he would have focused more on his boxing training. Like, he was quite inactive for a while. I don't think he's evolved as a fighter. I look at Devin Haney, and I think he's just coming on leaps and bounds. Like, they were 3 for 3 at an amateur level, and now I look at them and I'm like, just feels like Haney's on another level. So credit to him, he's taking fights that I don't think he can win, and he's still going for it, which is so rare in boxing. And he's doing it at a young age. He's not waiting till like he's went and had a load of bums on the record and just made a load of money. So he's got me respect. I just wish he'd focus more on improving his all-round game, because with hands that fast, he should be deadly, but I think he's a little bit one-dimensional and predictable compared to a Haney who's got really well-rounded game. Yeah,
he's going to struggle against Haney, I think. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he looks fantastic, Ryan Garcia, in the gym and on the bag and the pads and the speed ball. He's got some mad reflexes and mad hand speed. So he's awesome to watch.
He was with Canelo's gym, though, and when Canelo comes out and says, you don't work hard enough, you're not dedicated enough, I fucking believe him.
Yeah, you've got to take
it's
that.
Canelo.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, mate, we'll move on from that. Listen, I appreciate you joining me. I'm not going to wrap just yet. What I do with my guests when I get them on, I don't get that many guests on, because Froch on Fighting is usually just about the Cobra. Use myself as the third person here. I can just talk about boxing, and I just enjoy it. Every now and again I get the missus on, and people like a bit of
we love the missus. She's always a good laugh.
Yeah, she's good. Nice to look at, apparently. And apparently I'm punching above my weight, but it's
like all self-respecting men should, mate. Good on you.
Yeah, surely it's better to be punching than not. What's the alternative?
I know. What do you expect? Of course I am.
Exactly. So I do 12 rounds. I've got a quick fire 12 rounds before I let you go. So I've just got a few questions on. I say quick fire, it usually drags on, but we'll be as quick as we can. Right. First question, favourite interview?
Oh, fucking hell.
You've done that many.
I'll. What's the first one that come to me head?
Not interview. Go on.
One of the ones that sort of had us a bit starstruck.
Yeah.
Was the Undertaker from the wrestling.
Oh, really?
It's the first one that came to me head. It's probably not my all-time favourite.
Listen, that would have got me a bit starstruck, because as a kid, he was who I was watching. Him and Hulk Hogan, Thunderlips out of Rocky 3.
And he was a cool guy, so yeah, he was a cool interview for sure.
Right, fair enough. That's a great answer. Favourite Newcastle United memory?
It was Christmas, and Newcastle were with Sir Bobby Robson playing Arsenal at the Highbury Stadium. We were struggling, and we managed to win 3-1. Alan Shearer penalty, Lauren Robert scored. And just having memories of Sir Bobby Robson as manager, he was like football's granddad, so I always have a nice memory of us being top at Christmas, because we were never top at the end of the season. Yeah. So I took that.
Yeah, and Shearer as well. Oh, brilliant, great answer.
Yeah.
What makes you happy?
creating content. Love the feeling when you polish off a good video. And people enjoy it. That's my favourite.
You know what?
Contrary to popular belief, I'm not just trying to piss people off. I do want to make people happy.
Yeah, I get that as well. You know, when you've finished a video and you've done, you think, right, I got that one in the bank. It's nice. I forward it on to my producer and I think, that's in the bank. Lovely. And that's what I'll be doing after this. I'll be sending it off and feeling good about myself. So I've got to thank you. I've got to thank you for that. What makes you angry?
Liars. I fucking hate liars. Yeah.
Lying twats.
Yeah, mate. I'm the type of person, if no matter how brutal the truth is or how shit it makes me feel, if I've done something wrong, I just hold my hands up and I'm just like, yeah, I'm a prick. This is what I hate it when someone just the worst kind is when they'll lie about something to make themselves feel better for the way they treat people. All of that sort of just own your shit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're all dickheads at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair enough. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Have you got a hidden talent? What is your hidden talent? You've got to have a hidden talent.
I was pretty good at art when I was at school.
Oh, really?
I was a pretty good drawer. I'm not bad at singing. That's not really a great talent, to be fair.
Can you actually sing? I wish I could.
I'm good at drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
There's the one. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Can you sing? I'm not going to ask you to sing, but can you actually sing?
I'm like a half decent karaoke singer. I'm not like, I can do a bit of Elvis and stuff like that.
That annoys me when people can sing, because I can't fucking sing. And I play the guitar. And when you can play the guitar, all you want to be able to do is sing a little bit. And my voice is fucking terrible. I'm not going to get my guitar out, don't worry.
We'll get you on the karaoke, man.
No, don't. Honestly, it's bad. You can probably hold your own on the karaoke if you sing and sing, but I cannot. I'm terrible. Right, favourite boxer?
Ooh.
Any era you want.
Prince Nassim Hamed was my favourite boxer growing up.
What a great answer that was. He was the reason. Prince Nassim Salam Ali Hamid, I've even got his full name there. I was that much of a fan. I've got his books. I went to see him. He signed a few books for me. But he was the reason I got back into boxing. So that's a great answer. He was just so entertaining, wasn't he? Is that what you loved about him?
He captivated my imagination as a kid. I didn't really understand boxing. I think I was probably watching a bit of wrestling as a kid. Yeah. And then I just seen that leopard print shorts on the screen doing the flips into the ring. And I was like, holy shit, I need to watch this. And there was that fight in New York where he comes down to the catwalk, Men in Black entrance music. And he gets knocked down, gets back up. And it was that unbelievable world title fight. And I mean, I'd love to interview him one day, but he doesn't really do many interviews. So
no, that's a great answer, mate. That was a Kevin Kelly fight at Madison Square Garden in New York.
That's the one.
I was nervous when he got dropped in that fight. I was literally scared for him, so I was that much of a big fan. But
I wish that, because the technology we have now captures everything from so many. Like, he just doesn't have the praise from the modern era that he deserves, I wish people knew how good he was more in this era.
Because he lost to Barrera at the end of his career. Well, he had a couple of fights after that, but nothing fights. But because he got outclassed by, and he got dominated and kind of didn't really get into that fight with Marco Antonio Barrera. Because that happened, everyone was like, oh yeah, he's never been that good. He's actually never really fought anybody. But I think he was ridiculously special talent. And what he did was just change the game. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Great answer. Nassim Hamed. What are you watching at the moment? On Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever? What are you watching?
What kind of stuff do I watch? I watch all the usual crime bollocks that we all do.
You're not into anything at the minute now.
No, I'm a fan of like those like Vikings type shows, like Last Kingdom. Quite into that.
Oh, really?
Game of Thrones, that sort of. Sopranos is probably my favourite TV show ever. The Sopranos.
Listen, mate, old quality classic. That's the Sopranos is just good answer. What else we got?
It is.
What's your favourite breakfast?
Oh, well, I mean, look at this. It's a full English, right? It just is. I can't deny I'm a full English guy. But I'm trying to just do scrambled eggs with a little bit of bacon and less bread, because bread's a nightmare for making me fat.
Sourdough bread's decent. I've started eating that now because bread's got so many bloody ingredients.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
I'll give it a whirl.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I I believe in like other dimensions that seem to overlap with ours every now and then. Something like I've interviewed a lot of these. I don't know if you've ever heard of David Icke. You heard of David Icke?
I know David Icke really well because I'm a bit of
Yeah.
a conspiracy theorist. So I like to sit and
Oh,
listen.
well then.
I don't like the way that he's been totally cancelled. And I watched your interview with David Icke actually. You did a massive one. You did a really good interview with him. And he was, I think he was mistreated and silenced and shut down and squashed years ago. I mean, he said he was the son of God, but you know, we're all the son of God if you listen to the context in which he said it. But anything he says and he predicts, he was talking about COVID, he was talking about so many different things with the governments and the way they plan and plot and control.
Well, you've got to be careful, by the way.
Yeah, true.
Because
this might happen.
in my interview, we had it
This might have to
deleted.
go.
I delete the interview. They
Actually,
deleted
yours
the interview
changed.
YouTube.
It was up, then it was took down, then back up, and you took some bits out of it.
Yeah, so I had to take the bits about the C word out because there's no tolerance for that on YouTube. But look, at the end of the day, he did a lot of stuff about 9/11, Princess Diana, all these different, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
He's done loads. There's a lot of quality information in what he says, and obviously there's stuff that a lot of people disagree with, and that's fair enough. But I like to hear it all out and then take the bits that I think are relevant. And it was a good interview, and he talked about the.
I was going to say, what's wrong with letting adult human beings make their own mind up what they want to listen to and what they want to hear? Because he was talking about lizard people as well, and you can, if that's so ridiculous, just let him talk about it. Don't censor it. But anyway.
Well, he was also talking about Jimmy Savile before Jimmy Savile, so he's come up with a lot of things that people thought were rubbish that sometimes turned out to be bang on.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I do know.
So maybe he's right about the interdimensional beings. Who knows?
Yeah, potentially. Who does know? Moving on, we might leave that in, we might not. We'll have to see what we say because you can't.
I think the C word's the only one you might have to bleep out. Yeah.
When you say the C word, are you on about the old? Is that what you're on about? Is it that? Yeah.
Just leave that in. Just leave that in. Yeah.
I got that off David Brent. Boxing or MMA?
Oh, it's probably boxing.
Really?
I think boxing's just that bit. Back in the day, it was the UFC, but the UFC have been so bad at growing their stars, and now what they're trying to do in MMA is almost make it like a uniform. Like no one actually has any individuality anymore, and they're trying to suppress their stars. And even the way they're treating Conor McGregor right now, I'm not even a fan of the guy particularly, but they're doing everything they can to slow roll him and to try and minimize the level of power the UFC fighters have. Whereas I love that boxing, you can just be a kid from the street and be the most powerful man in the arena. And I love that about boxing.
Yeah, I suppose so. Because with the MMA, it's all kind of tied up, isn't it? Is it Dane White's got it all sort of...
Mate, check this out. They released the other day for Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone, which was a 1.3 million pay-per-view buy event, which they speculate made about 80 million quid.
Yeah.
When all the arena and everything else came in, they paid Donald Cerrone $200,000 to be in the main event with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, see,
shocking.
Mathematically, that's just diabolical.
Disgraceful, mate.
Yeah, it is disgraceful, actually. It's not right. And I know they've got the network and they've got the model for their sort of the way they produce the fights and put the shows together and put the shows on, and everybody sort of gets their chance. But if you're the main event is something that grosses that many pay-per-views, you can't make any case for not paying them at least the bloody 7 figures, can you? You know what I mean?
Mate, it's disgusting, mate. And look, I understand you want to. The UFC is different in that they're putting back into the sport allegedly.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I think the fighters get 20% of the pay. And they're making $1 billion a year, the UFC, and it's like, come on, you mean to tell me you couldn't break them off a bit more than that?
Really, they're smashing them that much. I didn't realise it was that lucrative.
Oh mate, it's. I mean, this is where people don't understand. There's like Queensberry Matchroom, and then the UFC is somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's in another league.
That's madness. That's news to me. That is.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're boxing, and then for one of the reasons you can have your dream, can't you? You can come from the street, get in the club, and you can make your millions.
You can be that, like what AJ's done and what you've done and what Canelo's done and all these guys.
Bit of a Rocky story come true.
Yeah.
Right, finish the phrase. The way to my heart is...
Food.
Food. Are you a big eater? Do you like food?
Yeah, and femininity as well. Shout out to the women.
Yeah.
I like a feminine woman. They can be quite rare these days. I appreciate a femininity.
Yeah, you don't like the new women.
Nah, I'm old school, mate. I like the old sort of old-fashioned women.
Yeah, you don't like the new ones, the ones with beards and cocks. You know?
And the ones dominating female sports right now.
You're not into them, though.
Well, I'm happy for them to be in female sports as long as I can bet on it. You know, as long as I can place a bet.
Fair enough. Right. Last and not least, and this could be the best one actually, because if you can sing a little bit, you might have to give us a little taster.
Hell.
Can you freestyle rap?
No fucking way, bro. No way. We're not doing that.
I love that.
There's probably enough people who've hated about me to inflict that on them.
I love the answer. It was no fucking way. Fucking brilliant. Listen, mate, it's been great. Lovely to have you on. It's been really good. We just got out in all.
Thanks, mate.
You give me a deadline. I'm 5 minutes before you cut off. I appreciate it. I'm going to be coming down to the True Geordie podcast down your neck of the woods. It's in London. We'll get together. I look forward to that. But appreciate having you on. And yeah, for now, this has been another episode of Froch on Fighting with Brian, True Geordie. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. That's how it goes. Do you want to close it for me, Brian?
Well, everyone, give a big hand to Carl Froch, the legend, the Cobra, the man in the arena. He's killing it on YouTube. He's the best, second best boxing channel there is. Go and subscribe to him.
I'll take that. Second best. Thanks very much. Until next time. See you later.